If you're out there, say hello so I know that you hear me. Gonna wait for some people to hop on for me to see some comments. I'm only gonna do half an hour today because I have Roland at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you check me out on Roland. If anybody's out there, say hello. Hey Brooke, hey Malarkey, Free Zone. All right. Waiting for some more people to check in. I see Twitter. I'm not seeing YouTube or Facebook yet. Hey, Archbishop. Let me see who's out there. Hey, Minnow. Alexandria. Thank you. Hey, Ray. Keith. All right. Let's go on ahead and let's get started. Hey, Chandra. Okay, Chandra's gonna get us started. Hey, Lou. She says, I'm hot about that Trump rally in my city of Tulsa. We don't want him here. Has he been to Tulsa before? I feel like he's been there before. Hey, Sire. So I'm not entirely surprised by that, but obviously the timing with it being on Juneteenth, also the site of the, Tulsa massacre is just I don't even like to use the word optics because it's just not decency, you know. Um, but it's pretty infuriating. I saw a lot of really strong responses. Hey, Melissa, I saw that Senator Kamala Harris, said that he's having a welcome home party for white nationalists or white supremacists. I was like, woo, okay, come with the heat. Hey, Julie. Um, so yeah, you guys leave your comments on that. Do you think that it's like, do you think that the Juneteenth timing is deliberate? Hey, Robin. Or do you? I mean, we know people have shown that the White House has a press release. They understand when when Juneteenth is. Brooke says Stephen Miller knew that shit with his neo-Nazi ass. You right. They do like to troll us, don't they? Like, really? You're going to sit up there and you're going to have basically a Klan rally on Juneteenth with a bunch of people wearing MAGA flags. You're going to be talking about, we already know he's going to have all the racist commentary. It's just appalling. Hey Golda, she says, Evo, Melissa, how dare he mess with our day? He knows exactly what he's doing. Exactly. Hey Carl, always love to see you. It's KKK 100%. Yeah, we literally have a white nationalist in chief as our quote unquote commander in chief. He's the president. Hey Rochelle. Yes, please tune in 6 p.m. Roland Martin, I will be on there. Carl says you need to do this later. Okay. Hey Thomas. He says absolutely deliberate, so many hidden messages, but at the same time in your face. It's so in your face. It's really begging for a response, right? Um, the tweeting. Okay, I'm just trying to read some of these comments. We will have massive protests here trying to incite violence. Okay, so Chandra, you think that people are going to protest Trump's appearance? I mean, right now people are still kind of out in the streets, protesting everything that we're seeing with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. So I think it will be interesting to see the counter protests. We know though that these Trump people are armed and dangerous. They're a little crazy. If you go into their territory, it could, like you said, be some violence. Carl says, question for you: is this what you're doing full time now? No, I have a full time job and I just do this for fun. 5 p.m. is I'm done with work at 5 p.m. Okay, so then that's why I do it at 5 p.m. Eastern. Sometimes I do it a little bit earlier, depending if I want to be on here longer or if I have like a shorter work day, then I might hop on earlier. But 5 p.m. is my time every day. Chandra says we're already gearing up for protests. Change. Bernie's diaper says Trump is holding rallies in states that weren't supposed to be swing states. Well, that's because um, Trump likes to preach to the choir. It's an ego thing for him, and he doesn't want the protest. He doesn't want the pushback. So he goes to where his base is. Hey, Susan. Hey, Golda. So Golda asked, what is the link to your thing at 6? So follow Roland Martin. You can follow him on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. He live streams his show every day at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm on Thursdays. Love the panel that I'm on. I'm on there every Thursday. Okay. He's looking to incite violence. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think that if there is a violent clash in Oklahoma, on Juneteenth with Trump and his supporters, what do you think the fallout is going to be for that? Because I don't know. I hate to talk about optics. I hate to talk about things in that way, but I just wonder, I just wonder how that's useful, if it's useful at all, and who benefits from that, who's hurt from that. So okay, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk about the Mahidi post real quick. Ray says, "Saw you slay Mahidi on the Kamala post too. They stay trying to steal her joy momentum." So let me talk about that real quick. So I did a long debunking, 2-hour debunking video, and one of the cases that were brought up was Teresa Shaheen. This was a woman in San Francisco. So one of these Warren supporters, ex Bernie bro, or still Bernie bro, if you ask me, posted this article like, "Wow." And the article's from September 2019. So when I tell you Operation Block the Black Woman, they did everything in their power, brought out every single cherry pick case to try to smear Kamala Harris with. So, but here is the kicker. When you look in these articles, even though these articles are intended to be hit pieces, there's still that nugget of truth in these articles that really tells you the true story. So this article is supposed to be all inflammatory because this woman who was mentally ill, the social worker called the police to come respond to her. When the police got there, this is all in the article. When the police got there, she charged at them with the knife and shut them out the room. So they called in some backup and they ended up, ramming through the door and she was shot. Is that okay? No, I'm not defending the police for shooting them, but they like to leave certain parts out of the story. They like to make it seem like the cop showed up, rammed the door, and shot this lady. We know what that looks like, and I'm not even going to make the connection here, but we know what that looks like. This case is something completely different. And if you read the article, and this is what, they won't point these details out, these really important details, because they post these articles, mind you. Thousands of cases are tried in the city of San Francisco a year. As a district attorney, you're not managing the caseloads. You're not making yes or go, no go decisions on every single case. It's really absurd to even think that. But let me just, be clear on this particular one. This is what it says in the actual article. People don't read the article though. They read the caption, they take the caption and run with it. But I'm gonna post it here for you. It says in the article, Hathaway, Shaheen's public defender, said she never dealt directly with Harris on the case and didn't know how involved she was in making decisions about it. So if the public defender never dealt directly with Kamala and nobody knows or nobody can state what Kamala's involvement was in it, why are we even talking about this shit? Explain that. Because it's all about smearing Kamala Harris. It's all about cherry picking these cases to try to paint a picture of Kamala Harris that's not accurate. She wasn't involved in the case. I know that's not a popular thing to say, but a DA is an executive position. They're not a courtroom prosecutor. So let's just be clear about that. Let's see. And of course, the punchline of his thread was what? It needs to be Elizabeth Warren. Okay, so it needs to be Elizabeth Warren, who has absolutely no record whatsoever in criminal justice, didn't care about the shit until she started running for president. She needs to be the one, not the black woman who actually spent decades trying to reform the system from within. Okay. Y'all gonna try to keep pushing these white saviors, but now is not the time, child. That ship has sailed. Period. All right, let me go back to these comments. Susan, you're welcome. Elizabeth says it's bait and setup. I'm in Jackson. Vivian says I'm in Jacksonville, and if the RNC comes here, it's going to be massive protests. Oh, but I thought that they had pretty much determined that it's going to be pared down in wherever it's originally scheduled for. I don't recall the exact city, but I feel like they'd already kind of resolved all that. Trump wants media attention. He picked the place and date on purpose. I agree. Archbishop says he'll call it an insurrection, I guess, if there is violence. Hey, Luthaza. Um, Chandra says Trump will be less than a mile from Black Wall Street. Carl says, I think what Trump is doing is disgusting and he should not have picked this day. I'm showing up to a 9/11. Ooh. It's like, I think what he's trying to say is it's like showing up to a 9/11 event wearing a shirt that says all buildings matter, right? It just shows no respect for our history. It shows no respect for what's happening. I can't imagine he's going to give a race speech, right? Right down the street from Black Wall Street, right down the street from where this massacre has occurred on Juneteenth. Like, come on. Sharon says it may spark more Black people voting in Oklahoma. I hope so. Change Bernie's diaper says burners forget that Bernie's record on race is awful too, worse than Liz Warren. Yeah, Bernie voted for the crime bill. He voted for, and he specifically explicitly say that, and I have the footage to prove it, that we need to have more jails and more cops. That's what he said. It's on tape. Ronald says, I think that's why he picked Tulsa so he could appeal to his base and show law and order. It's so ironic that the RNC or that the Republicans are always talking about law and order, and they're the most lawless pieces of shit out there. The Klan rally in GA today was unexpected but weak. Yeah, Mark's talking about something that happened. I thought it was yesterday in Rome, Georgia, where it was a KKK rally. It's literally it's disgusting. The Intercept is Russia funded. I don't know if that's true, but I do know. Carl, I don't know what you're referring to in that one because that's not this. I don't think that's the same case that I'm talking about. Let's see. Yeah, Ronald. I haven't gotten to Breonna Taylor yet, but I am going to address Breonna Taylor in a second. Let me see. So Melissa says, what do you think of what Biden said? If Trump loses and refuses to leave the White House, the military will escort him out. I completely agree with that. I didn't see that he said that, but absolutely. He doesn't have a choice. Change Brain Cyber says, thank you for defending Nancy Pelosi and Senate Dems for what they wore the other day. I just listen. I'm just like, can we focus on substance? I'm trying to figure out what we out in the streets for. What are we protesting for? What are we standing for? If we're gonna get into just talking about style, we're gonna get into talking about all these little memes and shit that's just low hanging fruit. Let's focus on the substance. Emma says they're just looking for whatever happened during her tenure to smear with. And you know what? Here's the thing: when you are a district attorney over a large city like San Francisco, when you are the attorney general over in the largest state department, yeah, anybody can find any story. They've gotten about 6 or 7 of them that I see, and turn it into something to smear her with. But I say, look at the record, look at what she's done. You can pick a case here, pick a case there. But how is that productive? How is that actually going to get to understanding what a person is about? Saretta says, I'm ready to go on offensive with Kamala's track record, maybe going to buy some Facebook ads. You can do that, I guess. I'm always on the offensive, and I'm always ready to correct the record. We just have to keep pushing back on these things and keep saying our opinion. That's it. Let's see. Okay, so Thomas and Luthaza say that it was originally in Charlotte. Okay, so the RNC has been moved somewhere. You guys remind me where the RNC is moved into? Roberto says, I'm in Texas and Trump is in Dallas today and 3 Black officials were not invited. Shocker. But he invited all those, I don't want to say clowns, I'm going to say these Black quislings to the White House to trash other Black people. Interesting, right? I don't know how you call people Black leaders that don't lead nothing, that don't do nothing but suck up to Donald Trump. That makes no sense. Menno says, with the economy in shambles, his re-election bets obviously inciting a race war and voter suppression. Well, voter suppression is absolutely what they're going to do. That's been the Republican playbook since the beginning of time. Robin says, the claim that she's put thousands of Black men in jail when it's impossible because she probably didn't handle thousands of cases. This is what is absolutely insane to me. It's like, The reason why these smears against Kamala Harris are so powerful, it actually plays on people's racism and their notions that black people are criminal. So it sounds about right when somebody says, "Oh, she locked up thousands of black men." Really? She locked up thousands of black men? No. Somebody said one time she locked up a million black men. What? It's literally insane. It's absolutely insane and asinine. But nobody talks about the hundreds of black men that she got healthcare, jobs, training, all kinds of things through her Back on Track program. When I will remember, if you listen to the interview I did with Latifah Simon, at that time when Kamala Harris was DA, 2 grams of crack would get you 20 years in prison. And Kamala Harris created the Back on Track to end that pipeline, that recidivism into the system with Back on Track. And the career prosecutors, the ones that people try to smear Kamala Harris with, laughed at it and said it was back on crack and hug a thug. So you can't put the ideology of career people in a DA's office and say, well, that's Kamala's fault. You can't do that. Let's see. E. Briggs. Hi, Reese. Some people saying Kamala didn't act on police shootings and brutality as AG, which is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Police shootings fall under the jurisdiction of the district attorneys. Now, people like to say, well, what Kamala didn't do as AG, which she didn't have jurisdiction over. Can you name the specific case that George Garcon had a problem with? He was the San Francisco DA, or the DA down in Los Angeles. If you can't name their names and what you felt they mishandled about those particular police shootings, then don't talk to me about Kamala Harris, because those are the people that make the prosecutorial decisions in California. Let's see. Baby Ethernet says, did most Democrats support the crime bill? Was anyone actually against it at the time? There were people that were against it. There are people that were against it against people that were for it. My thing isn't to relitigate the crime bill, but my thing is the person that people like to exalt as a person who has all the right answers also voted for the crime bill. That's my thing about Bernie. That's what I have an issue with. Don't sit up there and dog out Kamala and make it seem like she is, some sort of, zealot, which is completely not true. But then you don't want to address the fact that Bernie Sanders voted for the crime bill and said we need more jails and more cops. That's all I'm saying. Keep the same energy. Let's see. Steve Mnuchin is trying to hide who got money from the $500 billion. A lot of money. Yeah, exactly. But the transparency thing is just this administration is so corrupt. When will you be on Roland Show again? I'm on Roland Show every single Thursday, y'all. Roland Martin Unfiltered. Every Thursday I'll be on at 6 p.m. So I'm going to hop off of here in about 10 minutes. Trump is running a criminal enterprise and using foreign funds for money laundering. I 100% agree. Let's see. Yes, Heather, they will, as soon as Joe's officially commander-in-chief, the military is his controller. So the Constitution states when the transition of power occurs. That's automatic. So you're going to have a new commander-in-chief, period. Donald Trump cannot cancel the Constitution. So that ain't happening. Casey says it's messed up that it's taken Trump and his rally for the MSM to finally talk about Juneteenth. Did y'all catch Black as Fuck on Netflix? I did not appreciate that episode where they tried to make it seem like nobody celebrates Juneteenth. I thought that was very ignorant and very elitist of King of Bears to act like that's just some little poo-poo holiday, because a lot of Black people actually do celebrate Juneteenth. So I thought that was ignorant. But to your point about the MSM, yes, I agree about that. But I think Black people also need to also understand that a lot of Black people celebrate or recognize Juneteenth. Let's see. Mike says, would you accept a position in VP Harris's office if you were offered? I don't know what I could bring to the table in her administration. I think that there are so many talented people that do that work, and I think that those are people better suited for that. I think I'm more help for her on the outside, helping get her message out in my own unbossed, unfiltered way. So, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. But I don't know. That's not really my lane. And I wouldn't dare act like I'm more qualified than other people. Let's see. Okay. June says we need to also speak up for COVID testing in our community amid protests. I completely agree. We see that COVID is spiking throughout the country. We don't, it seems to be that the spike right now is related to Memorial Day and the reopenings that are happening. But yes, we absolutely do need to keep the pressure on COVID testing in our communities. That's going to be pressuring your local officials. I shared a website today that takes you to all of your elected officials, and your Congress people also help. So yeah, let's see. Baby Ethernet, did you hear about the killing of Javier Ambler? He was killed during a traffic stop. He was tased 4 times and died. Is that the one where he said, "I can't breathe," and the cop said, "I don't care"? If that's the case, then I did. I don't like to watch those videos. I really don't. But I did hear about that. I think it's appalling. Senator Kamala Harris spoke up on that, and I think that, to me, I feel like that's where the defund the police people lose me. And I'm not saying the whole slogan or whatever, but when you say don't have body cameras, I'm like, well, then how do we know about situations like that if we don't have dash cams, which is part of the Justice and Policing Act? If we don't have body cameras, which is part of the Justice and Policing Act, then how do we know stories about Javier? The reason why we have this galvanization around a lot of these cases is because we have footage, because we know. Look, and that brings me to Breonna Taylor's case. Breonna Taylor's case had no body cameras, no body camera footage. The cops opted to not turn on their body cameras. So the Justice and Policing Act would change 2 things. Number one, you have to wear body cameras. You have to keep them activated. Number two, they ban no-knock warrants on drug situations. They rammed into her building, her apartment, and shot her 8 times. And yet the police report states that she had no injuries. How does that work? A black woman is dead from 8 gunshot wounds from the cops, and the police report says no injuries. And let's also keep in mind the fact that the police said they told Breonna Taylor's mother that it was her boyfriend that shot her. They lied about the location of where the shooting happened. And so in this case, we don't have body camera footage, but because Kenneth Walker did survive and they tried to charge him in retaliation with attempted murder and things like that, we know more than what the police are saying. So that's where, to me, you have to explain to me, how do we have accountability? How do we make sure that we know what really happened and not have to just be he said, she said, or take the cop's word for it if we don't have body camera footage, if we don't have dash cam footage? I need somebody to explain to me how having no footage is a better answer in terms of seeking justice and make sure that people don't get false charges or other stuff like that. That's what I need somebody to understand, explain to me. But I think it's absolutely appalling. It's disgraceful how Breonna Taylor's killers are still out there on paid leave. They're not even, they just don't have any kind of culpability or anything like that. It's beyond disturbing what's happening. Thomas says, this is my cousin Thomas up in the chat. He says, unless Agent Orange shows up in a dashiki with the kufi on, with an unk in one hand and with the raised fist in the other hand while kneeling, in my best Della Reese in the movie Harlem Nights voice, he can kiss my entire ass. Okay, exactly. These are the same people who say Trump weighs 234 pounds. Okay, I'm reading the comments now. Did you campaign? Shun asked, did you campaign for Senator Harris? No, not when she was running for senator. I didn't live in California. I lived out here when she was running for Senate. Let's see. Okay, Baby Ethernet says, I supported Bernie Sanders in the primary, but I love and appreciate what you're saying and doing a beautiful job. I have a lot of animus towards the Bernie camp. And maybe it's not entirely fair because I don't tend to run into people like Baby Ethernet that don't act like assholes when it comes to what I say about Kamala. So I'm willing to, I don't have a problem with you just off the default of you being Bernie people. I have a problem with Bernie people who have a problem with me and who have a problem more specifically with Kamala Harris. You can have a problem with me, I don't care. But when you talk about Kamala, then that's when you have a problem with me. Yeah, Sharon says that lying about Harris talking to millions of black men is an ADOS talking point. Notice that ADOS don't ever have no smoke for nobody but black people. Ain't that something? Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna get through. Okay, I only have 3 more minutes, so let me see what's happening. Robin says, I changed my calendar to Reese Thursday. You're so kind. I appreciate that. Kamala's about to set it off. She was ready to burn the place down yesterday. Yeah, today in Congress, Kamala, she sits on the House Judiciary. I'm sorry, not the Senate Judiciary Committee. She sits on the Homeland Government Affairs, and she sits on the Intelligence Committee. And there's one more. I think it's I want to say the Budget Committee. But so she has a lot of hearings all the time. So today she's put forth an amendment to investigate tear gassing protesters to clear the way for Donald Trump's photo op. She also put forth something, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, so asking unanimous consent to consider her Justice and Policing Act that she and Cory Booker led on in the Senate. That was shot down. And she also, explained why she's not voting for one of Trump's appointees. So she's very, very booked and busy. Very busy. Let's see. Jay Barnes said he lost me when I watched him say, to paraphrase, guns in Chicago and Vermont were different. He said a lot of problematic stuff. Minnow says Hillary spoke truth about him being a career politician and getting nothing done. Yep. Pierre Jones says that new stimulus bill Bernie and Kamala are working on sounds good, but I'm not sure it will pass. Yes, you're referring to the monthly Economic Crisis Support Act, which is a $2,000 a month stipend throughout the course of the pandemic and 3 months after. And unfortunately, you have to put out legislative solutions even if you don't know if they're going to pass, because you have to show people what you're about. And so I still applaud that they work on that. They're showing people what solutions look like. They're showing what the Congress is capable of. If you have a majority, Democratic Senate or House, and the White House. So it is what it is with that. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to just try to scroll to the bottom of this. Jay Barnes says Juneteenth is real big in Texas. That's great. Okay, Roberto is co-signing that. How do you think polling will hold until November? Trump's disapproval is 63%. He's down 10%. It's very hard to rebound from that kind of disapproval. So I think that Trump is in danger, but at the same time, it's an electoral college contest, not a popularity contest. And so that's what we have to be cognizant of. Senator Harris had a good interview with Nick Cannon. She handled the defund abolish debate better than most. Absolutely. I think that she's really, really excellent with that. Do you recommend people read Michael Eric Dyson? Sure. I like Michael Eric Dyson. Let's see. Sandra Denise. Sandra Denise. Okay, girl. You had the whole little, that was like one of them games, house party games. Sandra Denise says, the man has corrupted every institution in our democracy. As an Army veteran and former member of the New Jersey National Guard, I am by how he is using our military against our American citizens. Salute you for your service, Sandra. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, I'm wrapping this up. Keith says, I'm hoping you'll be Kamala Harris's first secretary. I'm absolutely not qualified to be that, but I like Megan Lynch. I love her. She's so amazing. Kamala has some really, really talented people on her team. But I appreciate y'all thinking that I should be working for Kamala. But I have the utmost faith and admiration for Kamala's team. They're great. They're great people who are ride or die for Kamala too, Chad. Not just me. So Kamala has a movement behind her. Let's see. Robin says, are you seeing follow through from the reports? No, I'm not, unfortunately. It's okay though. I did not hear this. Let's see. They say tear gas makes COVID more likely and severe. Ronald saying that. Can you just put your source in there real quick for that, please? Susan says the police report demands external investigation. To me, the police report for Breonna Taylor is evidence in obstruction of justice. That's what that is. All right. I'm gonna scroll down because I gotta hop off. Well, let me see what else. Thank you, everybody who's complimented me. I appreciate it. This is an interactive discussion, so I definitely appreciate everything. Derek says, "What time will the K Hive be on tomorrow?" Okay, so before I go, live with the K Hive is going to be live, just like how I'm right now. Live on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I will be back here tomorrow again at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be my time, 5 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to be on rolling in 28 minutes. So Devon says you could be Kamala's Secretary of Smoke. Okay, because I always bring the smoke, child. You don't want none? Don't start none. Simple as that. All right, all right, all right. Um, Bill Porter, do you think if Val Demings ticket VP ticket as former police chief would hurt the Democratic ticket? I think anybody other than Kamala Harris is not the right move for VP. And on that note, that's all I got to say for today. Thank you all for joining me. I do have some exciting things that I'm working, some future conversations I plan on bringing y'all with more than just me live. This same time though, 5 p.m. So I'm working on some of the logistics of that. But tune in Monday through Friday. Follow me on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, Black Woman Views, on all those things. I appreciate all y'all support. Holla at me. Roland Martin Unfiltered at 6 p.m. Bye, y'all.